I'm Dr. Jason J. Campbell, and I want to thank you for taking the time to watch my videos. This video marks the beginning of a new series. The series is going to be a lecture series entitled Advanced Theories in Political Philosophy. And that's precisely what it's going to be. It's going to be an analysis of political philosophy. The two books that I'll be using are these books, which I've hyperlinked in the first video, The Great Political Theories, and then the second is The History of Political Philosophy, the third edition. This book is very thick. This is like a 900 page book or so. This book, not so thick, but very dense, entirely comprised of primary text. So, very, very powerful book. Today's lecture, this first installment of the series, will be coming from this book. The Great Political Theories, so make sure that you have it. I'll also be supplementing the lecture series with links to other EDU pages, resources, so that you can have a better understanding. The one caveat that I want to make right from the beginning of this lecture series is that this lecture series is not going to function like, I'm not going to conduct the lecture series in the same manner that I've conducted my other series. Precisely for the fact that I've done so much theory on my YouTube channel. I've done a ridiculous amount of theory on my YouTube channel, and I have content expertise in socio-political philosophy. So this is the stuff that I studied in graduate school. I wrote my dissertation on state ideology. So I mean, I know this content at an expert level. I don't want to, just personally, I don't want to do an introductory account. Typically, I do give introductory accounts of the material, so I from the very beginning, I'm going to apologize right from the very beginning that there won't be any ghetto philosophy in this particular series, primarily for this reason. I write in this field, almost exclusively write in this field, so this lecture series isn't something that I just give to the world. This is something that I give back to myself. I go back months later, years later, and watch myself give a lecture series because, you know, a lot of this is sort of, it's guided by the notes, but a lot of it is free-form presentation, and I'll be thinking about concepts in my academic writing, and I'll go back to my own lecture series and watch myself present in order to generate more ideas for myself. And since I know that I'm going to use this resource that I'm putting out, not only am I giving it to you, but I'm going to use this. This is a resource for myself. I want to get right to the point and make it very, very technical. It doesn't necessarily have to be a very long series in terms of hours, though I'm sure it will. You know, it'll probably be 10 to maybe 16 hours max. This series, but I want it to be very, very dense. It's going to be very jargon filled. I'm going to assume, since you recognize that the title says Advanced Theories, I'm going to assume that you know the concepts, the foundational concepts. I'm not, as I never do, talk about the historical context of the author. I'm completely disinterested in the author of these texts. It's the theoretical accounts, and again, I'm not going to have sort of introductory commentary. I'm going to jump right into the analysis, and not only am I going to jump into the analysis, I'm going to jump into the analysis at the deepest level that I've done for any lecture series at all. I've never conducted a lecture series at the level of academic sort of rigor that I will conduct this series, and it's completely egoistic, right? It's completely egoistic. I want this series to benefit me in the future, and you, but me in the future when I come back to generate ideas for my thinking, and I don't want to spend 15 minutes explaining sort of introductory concepts. So the lecture series is going to be advanced. I do encourage those of you who might not be comfortable and familiar with a lot of the concepts and terminologies that I'll be introducing to, pause the video, Google the concepts, go to Wiki, Google the concepts, and, come back and continue with the lecture series. But again, the series would be, in a sense, if it were in an institution, be of an upper level undergrad, but primarily a graduate, and maybe even a more advanced graduate, right? A more advanced graduate lecture series. All of my other lecture series have been given for undergrad, like an undergrad lecture. This lecture is going to be a grad level lecture, and maybe even even more advanced. So again, this is going to be section 1 of my lecture series in Advanced Theories in Political Philosophy. Again, the books, just one last time. These 2 books, I have hyperlinks in the first video to these 2 books, so go out and get the books if you want. You don't necessarily, because this one obviously costs more than this one, so if you want to wait until I get to this book to buy it, fine. But I'm using this book from the first video is going to come from this book, and the first discussion, it was very difficult for me to figure out how I was going to, I know what I want to do pedagogically in the world, and I'm accomplishing it slowly. I wanted to find a text that would serve as the foundational grounding, which is redundant, but the foundation for my own particular views on socio-political philosophy, political philosophy, and such. So I decided to use Laski, Harold J. Laski's the following: The Foundation of Sovereignty, Studies in the Problem of Sovereignty. And both of these excerpts come from the text. I will only be analyzing the excerpts from the text, so all you'll need to follow along is this. It helps if you have a broader understanding of the total argument that's presented, but because of the sheer magnitude of authors that we'll be covering, and because of the sheer magnitude of theoretical paradigms, political paradigms that we'll be covering, there's absolutely no way that I could, give an honest account to each individual theory and each individual author. So a book which compiles very succinct excerpts is the best pedagogically. Again, my lecture series are always a supplement to primary reading, so don't take my word for it. It's your responsibility to do the primary reading on your own. Again, this is going to be advanced level, so again, let's begin. So I explained the little bit. Again, we're going to be doing Harold J. Laski, the Foundation of Sovereignty, and Studies in the Problem of Sovereignty. So the first thing, first we need to title it since it's advanced. Political. Okay, so Advanced Theories in Political Philosophy, and this is section 1.0. Alright, so a harmony of complex interests in a monistic state. The focus is going to be on attempting to understand how and if it is possible to conceptualize harmony within a monistic state. Obviously, a monistic state is going to be sort of, I think, arbitrarily in a sense, but it's going to be set in opposition to a pluralistic state. So we have a monistic state on one hand, we have a pluralistic state on the other, and what we're going to attempt to do is identify harmony within a monistic state, right? This is my heading, so you get a sense of where the discourse is initially heading. Okay, so let's put that down. Harmony of in a, again, right from the beginning, what I just said, you will need to have an advanced understanding of political theory in order to follow along. However, I do not, I in no sense want to discourage those who don't have an advanced understanding to try on your own to get the requisite knowledge to come back and learn. But for this series, I just have to jump right in. Okay, so first, direct quote from the text. This again comes from Laski. Quote, "The philosophers, since particularly the time of T.H. Green, have told us insistently, the philosophers have told us insistently, that the state is based upon will." Okay. The state is based on will. Upon will. Right? There's no surprise that now, immediately,